Enable.
Visakhapatnam, the upcoming Fintech capital of India, hosted recently a two-day conference on blockchain technology organized by the Fintech Valley Vizag, an initiative of the government of Andhra Pradesh. The event brought together an exclusive group of blockchain experts, startups, regulators, policymakers, and academics from around the world.
We have delegations from Austria to Australia, more than 26 country people, though we have started this conference activity just about 2 months back. We never thought that we can pull it off, such an international event that we planned earlier. The theme of the conference is demystifying blockchain. Many people, they don't know whether blockchain works here, blockchain is not working here. So we requested the people who implemented blockchain in Estonia, Sweden, all these countries, they are coming and telling how they implemented blockchain in various applications, what were the issues, how they were able to solve these issues. So we are trying to demystify what is blockchain all about, whether it is going to be useful or not going to be useful, where it is going to be useful, and how it is going to be useful. With this, I once again thank all of you. I want to thank our Honorable Chief Minister for giving us the full support to make blockchain as one of the key drivers for creating the jobs, bringing the investment.
I'm very excited to be part of this discussion here about blockchain. Blockchain is now considered as the new era of technology. Disruptive technologies have been defining the new normal. They will continue to transfer power and control from a central structure to the masses. We are excited as the state of Andhra Pradesh to be the first state in the country to launch pilots in blockchain. We have used pilots. We have used RTA, the Road Transport Authority, as a pilot. We are the first state to use land records as a pilot for blockchain.
Fintech, blockchain, cybersecurity, you name so many things. All new things are coming in a big way. Blockchain technology promises to become the infrastructure for a new generation of internet interaction, including anonymous online payments, remittances, and transaction of digital assets. In this regard, I want to make Visakhapatnam not India's capital for fintech or blockchain technologies. It will be center of excellence for the global community. That is how we are planning Visakhapatnam.
The first day of the conference started with policymakers, corporates, and cybersecurity experts exchanging ideas on blockchain implementation in different sectors. The discussion challenged the hype around Bitcoin as the most innovative payment network.
The common misconception that Bitcoin and blockchain are one and the same. Bitcoin is only one of thousands of potential applications of blockchain technology across industries and around the world. But once people realized that blockchain could be used for managing digital currencies, they said, why can't we use it for other things also? Such as electronic medical records, 3D printing design files to enable us to download the design for the airplane part to a 3D printer at the airport, or land titles to allow us to conclude real estate transactions in minutes rather than weeks or months.
We have something in the financial world called an initial product offering, an IPO, which happens in the markets with investment bankers and so on. It's quite similar when you take a when you take a startup to the market. Now, the inventors of this actually came around in 2013. The people behind Mastercoin. And they wanted to kind of reproduce something between that and what happens when you're crowdfunding on, say, Kickstarter. So this is where the ICO comes from. And it's basically a way for people that have a great idea to create their own cryptocurrency and then sell it to people. And at a discount. And once people buy these new coins that are created, or these new tokens, they can then sell them later on the exchange when they go up. And hopefully they go up like Bitcoin did, or hopefully they go up like Ethereum did. Ethereum was selling at 30 cents when it came out. It's now $300, only a few years later. We had 2 coins in 2016 that went up 3,000% in 1 year. So you can understand why the speculators are all there and why there's a bit of a frenzy in a way.
The conference featured discussions on global best practices in blockchain technology implementations that were shared with the participants.
Quintessential use case that you might heard about, the Australian Stock Exchange experimenting with digital ledgers and partnering with an organization called Digital Asset Holding. That's a US company from a founder, Blythe Masters. But what happens in this space is ASX and in general equity capital markets, it's quite convoluted and hasn't changed since the 15th century or whereabouts, where the Dutch started trading tulips in the Amsterdam stock market. And it's all relying on the fact that if I'm buying a stock and somebody's selling a stock, we don't trust each other, therefore we have to go to brokers, then we have to go to lists via registries, and we have to go to a central repository. And even the central repository doesn't trust those brokers, therefore they are novating the trades via various clearing functions. That's a pretty convoluted story. And the promise of blockchain in this space was around, well, if we cannot trust each other, why don't we create a central ledger with all its repository, all the stocks listed, and you know the story. You heard it greatly.
We have the same features as others, add transactions, and do property transfers. But the registry is implemented in a way that you can actually understand. It is in a database. You can actually do validation inside stored procedures. You can look at who is authorized and do all that code. Anyone can understand it. You don't need to be a particular blockchain developer. And we have proven this and used it for different verticals in Thailand, in Sweden, and so on. So it's a technology that works. Provides all the security benefits of a blockchain, but working with a more traditional context.
Day 1 of the conference ended with a panel where leaders from leading banks discussed the role blockchain had to play in their industry.
Abhay, this question is to you in terms of do we see government hence playing a bigger role in actually getting some of these new technologies off the ground, given that maybe on a banking level we might not see that scale to begin with?
See, the thing with all disruptive technologies is that there is theory and then there is practice. So in theory, what blockchain solves for is several things. And all of that has been proven in experiments. Yeah, you get faster settlement, you get drastically lower cost, you have new asset classes that suddenly come up because as a result of tokenization, and there is greater resilience all around, and that is theory. Yeah, in theory also, you do not need a central function. You do not need a central bank, you do not need a bank, you do not need a government. You know, you are living in a perfect world where peers can interact with peers and exchange value. So what internet did to information, blockchain will do to value. Theory. In practice, the governments are not going away. In practice, the banks will continue to morph themselves in a way that they can add more value.
Sudhin, this question's for you. Why don't you elaborate a bit about what was the thought process in setting up bank chain and what's been the learnings for you all?
What do banks do? Banks, we collect money, we lend money, we protect money, we secure money, we advise on money. But the fact is that in our ecosystem, we've got something like more than 200 products and probably more than 500 web services. If I have to map these basic functions of blockchain to a financial superstore that I can build, I can build this entire super financial store curated for P2P lending something that we don't do right now, or even shaking hands with a marketplace built for crowdsourcing lending. And I can do this building just through blockchain, probably just taking about building 20 functions of blockchain. So that is the power.
In case of using blockchain technology, do you see the regulation as an impediment?
See, regulator today wants to control the systemic risks to the system, right? So unless something comes to a level that it is a systemic risk, they definitely allow the innovation to flourish. Now, when it comes to a systemic risk, they want a view on what is happening. So today, a regulator wants to know the in and out and the movement of money and what is lying where, right? So that is why banks report, and most of that has become online today. So even if we tomorrow talk of blockchain systems, the regulator would definitely like a window on the side, maybe as a one node, to know what is happening.
The Fintech Valley initiative of the government of Andhra Pradesh kicked off sometime in October last year. So the initiative basically focuses around creation of the fintech ecosystem in the city of Vizag. That's why it's called Fintech Valley Vizag. And it's a global ecosystem that we are trying to create here with multiple stakeholders. So when we started off with one of our first partners, Monetary Authority of Singapore, because Singapore is doing a lot of work around being inclusive about this ecosystem. So we wanted to learn and set benchmarks from there and take it from a global platform so that we start on a global level.
Rubik, as a fintech company, we are always exploring possibilities, technologies how we can help the consumer, and crunch the timelines. So I think blockchain is the future, and how it can help the consumer with exploring. And what we are doing at AP government is we're working 2 or 3 specific projects. One is around SME funding, secondly around the farmer funding, and most importantly, we are setting up operations in Vizag and Vijayawada, both the locations. Plus, we are setting up a tech team in Vizag and focusing on the blockchain solution for our consumers in the years to come.
The highlights of the Blockchain Business Conference will continue after a short break. At the start of the second day of the conference, senior professionals from prominent logistic firms discussed the role of blockchain in the supply chain and logistics industry.
When I work and see from the port, I see a lot of stakeholders across the spectrum and across the countries, across the ocean. Because of multiple players, because of lack of organized, trusted communication between these players, there is a lot of confusion, lot of opportunities for making money, sometimes unduly also, sometimes duly. That means sometimes for the services they render, sometimes for the services they don't render. All this is happening because of multiple government agencies, multiple stakeholders. You can't fix responsibility on one. This is where I feel these challenges can be overcome through blockchain technology if we really implement.
Mohammed, from Microsoft, you should be one of the biggest customers involved in shipping your products, and there's a lot of supply chain and logistics that come into play. So how does Microsoft as a customer, what are the different challenges that you would face?
On one side, we're trying to solve problems for others, whereas we ourselves are customers as well. As a customer, we are also trying to see if we could implement blockchain to solve some of these problems and basically improve on the performance and efficiency.
Pavan, from Adani Ports, how are you looking at this problem?
So in Adani Ports, mainly what we're looking at is how do we help our customers, their customers and their customers. So we all work in the same ports and also the logistics teams. Now the main problems today what we have is the same contracts which are used by my customer, placing order to his client, executed by us, and then logistics is done by some other party. And in between we have banks. So I think supply chain, if you see, is the best case for blockchain, yet we are trying to identify where is that we can have a good start with.
Startups too were given a platform to showcase implementations of some innovative use cases of blockchain in the fintech space. The Exhibit India's Blockchain Startup Showcase featured a curated section of Fintech startup booths.
We started off as a gifting app. We have done about $50,000 of transaction. We have 7,000 customers all on beta. We haven't really taken it live in a big way with absolute zero marketing. Then we realized that gifting as a category doesn't really exist, because if I talk about a gift, the first thing that comes to your mind is, am I missing someone's birthday or an anniversary? So you always think of an occasion. Whereas in Facebook, you see a comment from a friend, you always go and immediately, impulsively pass on a comment on the platform. But you can't do anything tangible. That's where we hit up on this idea, and we said, what if we can actually transfer something when you think of somebody anywhere in the world at that real moment, and it just takes 30 seconds. But we said the category doesn't exist, so you got to pump in a lot of money. We did raise angel funding, a very small amount initially, but like most startups, they tend to take the VC's money and then the pressure builds and then you start investing and spending a lot of money in marketing. That's exactly what we did not do. Because no matter how much money you spend on marketing, it's about reminder, it's about reinforcement for people that, you don't have to always think about gifting as an occasion-specific task, but you always have to, you think of somebody, you should think of giving something.
We are based out of Delhi, around a year-old startup with a team of now 30+ engineers focusing on blockchain. So we are developing solutions for enterprises focused on banks, insurance companies, and manufacturers.
We are a global cryptocurrency remittance platform, as well as an exchange. We are already live in 7 countries of the world. So we are developing our own blockchain, which is called Belrium. Belrium is a KYC compliant blockchain. One thing that sets apart Belrium from each of the blockchains is the KYC is inbuilt. So you can particularly identify who this particular user is. So it's just like bringing the best of both worlds.
KPMG has been working with the government of Andhra Pradesh and also the corporates for the past 2 months in running these innovation challenges, and it's that moment when the winners have to be acknowledged. So for Klee, you are the winner of the Fullerton India Supply Chain Finance Challenge. The IDFC Bank International Remittance Challenge. And the winner is Easter Egg. And in the third category, the winner is Belfrix. Also, there's a little bit of a surprise, and besides the 3 categories that I told you about, and this surprise is brought to us by Rubik. It's a fintech company, and it's all about giving finance technology solutions for individuals and SMEs. Now, what Rubik has done is to collaborate with CNBC TV18, instituting the Fintech Edge Awards 2017, where they honor disruptors. They basically joined hands with the government of Andhra Pradesh in the Fintech initiative. And to celebrate this engagement, Rubik and Andhra Pradesh government are joining hands to give away this award for the outstanding idea in blockchain. And the winner is Easter Egg.
The good thing about coming to Vizag, and then, when you see Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh say that he's your marketing manager, a startup cannot ask for more, because one of the things when you're working on disruptive technologies is that there are times when you need policymakers to be behind you. Because policy regulation is something that comes across very strongly when it comes to disruptive technology. So when a chief minister is behind you, that kind of gives you the confidence to go to market. So that was great about this event. And also the banks being here, we had some really good conversations with banks who we could integrate with. They're looking forward to having, conversations with us.
The winners and runners who participate in this blockchain challenge award, most of them expressed they are willing to start their companies in Fintech Valley, Vizag. We will not only give business access through our government, through our use case repository, and our Honorable Minister has already announced that we are going to create a Fintech fund for follow-on funding, not only for the hackathon winners and also for this challenge winners and the companies who are setting up their facilities in our Fintech Valley, Vizag. And really, I want to thank all of you for making this event a grand success.
Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.